Welcome to MicdinPod. We are your hosts, Jeremy and Val.
That's me.
We are not experts, just parents of 2 college athletes and 2 in youth sports.
On this podcast, we're bringing together athletes, parents, and coaches to talk honestly about youth sports recruiting, pressure, identity, and everything in between.
Thanks for being locked in with MicdinPod.
Today's episode is really special for us because we're sitting down with a couple who has lived the full journey of sports, not just from one angle, but as parents, as player, and as partners. Troy and Tommi Vincent have raised 5 kids and have seen it all from high-level football to the growth of flag football and everything in between. But what stood out most to us is how you've done it together. Troy played 15 years in the NFL and now is Executive VP of Football Operations in the NFL. But I'm really excited to have Tommi here because we're excited because we know you're the center of it all. Balancing family, building your own path as a podcast host, as a chef, as an author, and just navigating the realities of family life. So we know that you are both so deeply committed to what you have done in the community with your philanthropic work. And we're just really excited to have real conversations with real decisions, with real moments that have shaped our kids. So we would just love to welcome Troy and Tommi Vincent to MicdInPod.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So we're excited because you guys are our first couple. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, and you're our first couple. So we're going to start right off on the jump. How do you guys deal with the dynamic of scheduling and with multiple kids playing? You guys are a family of 7. So how do you do it with scheduling and just the multiple activities going on?
And we know you're out of it. You've been out of it for a little while. So, but like, what was that like?
It was challenging. Challenging in the sense that Troy always had obligations for his profession, right? He was whether he was playing or he was an executive, the demands on his time were great. And we had 5 children and we wanted to keep them all active because we know the power of sport. It in so many ways, and all of those skills are transferable to adult life. And so we wanted to make sure that we kept our kids involved and engaged. And listen, your girl had to figure it out, and I did.
Yeah. Tom was like the master scheduler, and she told me what time, whether events started, and then I just made my way, whether pulling up 5 minutes before it began or at halftime, to make sure that, I was sitting next to mom watching the kids participate.
There you go. Yeah. It's funny before you guys came on, we were going back and forth. So I'm recording in a different place where Val's recording, and we're going over the schedule. She's saying to me, do you know that soccer tryouts are on Monday? And I'm like, I don't have that on my schedule. I'm looking at something different. There's practice on Monday. And so we're going back and forth. So it's funny that you guys say that.
It was much more difficult when they were kind of younger. And, you had Parks and Rec and somebody had to be over at this field. Mm-hmm. And then, but when Troy and Tehran, because of that age difference, there was a crossover time where they both were participating at the same time. And Tehran was a little bit more mature physically. So he was able to participate with his older brother.
Okay.
So that part was kind of was nice.
What's the age difference between those two?
4 years.
Okay.
Nice.
So there's a 4 years age gap. But Tehran he was physically, he didn't look his age, and he could play at a higher level when he was younger. And most didn't realize that he was that young. So that part, Desiree was easy. Our oldest was easy because she was the only one. Easy getting her around the soccer practice and so on and so forth. So, and then the twins, they weren't athletes. They tried a little bit. They did play. Mm-hmm. And then they very quickly, one said, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. And the other one said, I'll do it because mom and dad said we should.
Okay. Which ones are the twins? Wait a second. I have Tanner. No, Tanner's not the twin, is he?
Yeah.
He is a twin.
Tanner and
Tanner's
Hadassah.
a twin.
And Hadassah.
Okay, those are the twins. Okay.
Yeah, our youngest two are twins.
Oh, okay. I say. I'm a twin. I'm a
Ah,
twin.
Fraternal
And
or
I'm fraternal. But
okay.
my brother and sister below us, they are also twins, fraternal twins. So there was the two sets of twins. There was 6 of us under 4. It was ridiculous. It was
yeah.
ridiculous. But it was a different time back then. We didn't like my parents didn't come to any sports until I was in high school. You know, like I went to school, I went to college and ran track. And the first time my parents saw me run track was at the A10 championships my freshman year. They like, so it was a different time. They just, you know, it was just different, you know?
And I mean, it's Tommy. It's like you might have had some kids that didn't want to play the sports, and you encouraged them to do so, but you're still bringing them along everywhere. You still have multiple kids going on, and I think that we started this. We said, there wasn't a perspective. A lot of times we've seen podcasts, and it's the dads just talking about the sports journey. I'm like, well, what about the mom? Like, I'm organizing lunches. I'm the one someone's texting me and saying, can you bring the orange slices? Making sure they're fueled in between. And so, I mean, kudos to you. We have 4, and 5's a whole other ball game. And keeping even my youngest one entertained while we're at the other kids' sports has been, something else. It's cold out. They don't want to be there. It's like, who am I bringing along? Did either of you ever coach them, or how did you help them deal with a difficult coach?
Well, I coached. I was a volunteer dad or parent. I enjoyed it. It was, a play. You're going to have coaches that holler and scream. That's all part of it, and you have to adjust to it. You're going to have coaches that are quiet. You're going to have coaches that are really loud. And I just let the coaches, as part of the coaching staff before I became a head coach, I treated my kids like they were everyone else. But then when you get in the car, when you're traveling home or you're having dinner, then you start talking about their experience. But that's all part of the athletic experience. You're going to have that, and you have to adjust. If you don't, you're probably not going to have the success or grow in the sport like you can, because every coach is different.
And we have had difficult coaches along the way, and there's a difference, right? There's the difference of a coach who may be loud, may be yelling, may be tough, but they're a good coach. And then there are other times when you have a coach that's just lousy, and it's showing up in the way that they are managing the kids, managing their emotions, managing the decisions that they're making, and not necessarily having the conversations necessary with their children. Like you talked about with your daughter, there was some decisions that were made that you were unaware of, but good communication from a coach helps to also effectively teach a life lesson in that moment on why the decision was made. To me, those were the most challenging, because as a parent, it isn't, to me, it's important to honor the role of a coach and not to, show up and engage with the coach to step on their toes, if you will, in making decisions around the sport. But it's difficult to watch and stand on the sideline where you know that there's mistreatment in the process or mishandling of your child that could be detrimental long term for the development of your child.
I love that you said that, because there's been so many times so when he first started coaching, and I was in law enforcement, I would say to him, I said, you're going to coach the girls. He would coach the girls in basketball. And I said, you might be the only man outside of their dad that they spend the most time with. How you talk to them matters. How you're paying attention matters. So really pay attention to the fact that, like, how they're receiving you, and actually communicate, you know what I mean? Make sure that you're communicating, so they're not getting other thoughts in their head, so they actually, can, like, so that they love the sport, but I was real conscious about how he did that, to mention that to him. The other thing, when you brought up the coaching and seeing how a coach possibly is doing it right or doing it wrong, when your husband's coaching, so when he's coached the kids and they get in the car and I can tell they're frustrated or they're frustrated, how did you handle that? Because now it's easier, I feel like, when it's the coach, he doesn't live in the house, you know what I mean? But now you're coming home in the car ride. You might be in the car ride together. You might have taken some kids and he's got other kids, and now they're complaining about dad. You know what I mean? They're complaining about how
Not this dad. Not this
how
dad.
did
They
you
don't
do
complain about
that?
this dad.
Well, I was the perfect coach.
Exactly.
I
Me and you
I didn't
too.
have much, Tommy didn't have to lean into the kids and say, hey, your dad did this. I was kind of easygoing, and I was like, see, I'm the model coach. This is what I don't think you should be.
So I think we know him, right? So before he was Coach Troy or Coach Vincent, our children knew him. So they understood his personality. So any conversations we were having post the practice, it would be just like any other day where they're like, Mom, Dad did this, Dad did that. So we were talking. It wasn't a new conversation because we already knew Troy the man and how he showed up as the father. So we just kind of talked through it that same way.
Okay, yeah.
So how did you handle those bad coaches? Were you, that's going to be a poll question for us. We do polls in this podcast. And one of the poll questions coming up next week is, how do you handle bad coaches? And do you email? Do you talk to the coaches? Like, how did you guys do it?
So my perspective was, it's nothing like communication. Whether
Yes.
I agree or disagree with you, I can give you a perspective. And I always use the term, now we're talking about football. So it'll be something that someone says, Troy is very versed in football, just due to my high school, college experience. And then, I played a lot of ball at the pro level. So I had a perspective, not that it was right, but in speaking to the coach, I would just always ask, whether it was individually or in a group, have you ever considered this? Or here's some things that we may want to consider. Because I'm not there to challenge the coach. If he's the head coach, I honor that. But I think I can challenge him or challenge the group by just saying, have we ever thought about this? This is not what's happening with the team or a specific individual or one of the kids. And then you challenge him by, I would just say, have we ever considered this method?
I like
Or
that.
have
I
we
like
ever
that.
considered this? Coaches like control. People like control. And when it's not combative and it's more, I'm going to let you own it. So I'm just asking, have you ever considered this? Because obviously what we're doing is not working. So that was my, and to this day, that's how I would handle something that I either disagree with or something that I'm seeing wrong. But you
Okay.
got to confront it. You got to talk about it. Never in an email, because emails could be interpreted differently.
Yeah.
They have their own set of tones, and depending on what attitude and what mood you're in, you may receive that differently.
Yeah.
So it's just best to say, hey, in our little coaches corner or our coaches meeting or after practice, hey, here's what I learned. Here's what I saw.
I handle it differently. I didn't play football, but guess what? I
Okay.
didn't have to play football to know when I need to step in to make
Okay.
sure that my
Yes.
children are okay. Okay.
Okay.
So there was a time when one of our sons was playing basketball, and it was a travel basketball team. And he was the only Black child on the team. And you had to try out to be on this team. So everyone that made the team, they had some level of skill where, the coach saw that this person was good for the team. Well, as the season went on, every time that our son made a mistake, I mean, the smallest of mistakes, the coach would yank him out. And I believe it was because of his size and his height that there was an expectation that maybe our son wasn't meeting the coach's expectation. So maybe my son was pissing him off. I don't know. But what I did know is that every time he got in the game, when he made a mistake, he was looking over his shoulder,
Oh.
waiting for the coach to pull him out the game.
Oh.
And then I would see other players making this making mistakes, and he coached them through the mistake, and they stayed in the game.
Oh,
At a point, I said, enough, because what you're not going to do is you are not going to cause my son to question who he is as a person and also as an athlete, because it's okay to not know a skill and need to develop in it, but your role as a coach is to teach them and coach them through it. So I did have to talk to the coach about that, and I also took my son off that team because we was paying to play on that team. I was not going to give our resources on a team where it didn't even feel like he was a part of the team.
yeah.
Yeah. We just spoke with the Providence College hockey coach, and he talked about that. Like, even if a kid isn't playing as much as they would like, when you give that kid a role, when you make that kid feel, confident in what they're doing there, the parents are happy, the team has this unity. After the games, they're eating together, the parents
Yeah.
are eating together, and the coach can create or break that culture.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. We've seen that with kids looking at their parents every time, but knowing that the coach doesn't allow them, the coach is wound too tight, that has
Yeah.
so much control that they don't allow the kids to actually fix their mistakes. And we're like, this is youth development,
Yeah.
this is where that's like, let them, and then that's what practice is for. They get one game a week to kind of put in practice. So like, you're still practicing. It's the third game in the season. Why are you pulling them up for a mistake? They're supposed to make space. They're supposed to travel with the basketball. You know what I mean? Or they're supposed to, and so good for you, because I am the same exact way. I will walk across the field and it is a wrap real quick, and everyone knows it. I mean, part of the reason why some of the sports we say it's not time yet, emotionally, for our kids to do some of the things they're not developed, where I think where they would even thrive and receive some of the coaching that they need to get yet. But I think that's such a valid conversation that parents are looking at. They're going down these pipelines of sports and youth sports, and there's so much out there with training and development and club teams, and a lot of parents are questioning, should I be paying this money? Should they hear somebody actually say, I walked away from it because it wasn't fulfilling what we need, isn't being said. You know what I mean? People get in, they paid the money, they're staying in, and then they don't realize till later that their kids are not developing, and then it's actually hurting their confidence and emotionally.
So I would say, and this is what I would recommend to any parent, you really got to ask yourself the why. So this was a travel league. We had other options. And what's the number one reason kids leave sports is bad coaching. Every survey will say that. And I think as parents, we have to have realistic expectations. When we take the kid out, we know exactly where we're taking he or she to.
Okay.
If it's a travel team, these are things that come along with that. And then we should get a chance to, ask questions to parents whose kids have come through that program or have, had the opportunity to coach up underneath the coach. So those are kind of things that some of those things that we can control, but I think having realistic expectations as parents, that's where it starts. And most importantly, this is what I would share, we got to make sure our kids are having fun. Like there has to come a time I'm introducing them to a sport. I don't care what sport it is. It could be beach volleyball, soccer, pickleball. It doesn't matter. Our kids have to be introduced to a sport where they're having fun. As they get older and it progresses, then it becomes really around competition and winning and losing. But there's a period from 3, frankly, to 13, 14, where the kids got to be having fun.
See, I just feel like sport has become such a business that the fun is starting to be extracted from all sports because the expectations are so high for kids to show up and be ready. And if they're not ready, then they'll get looked over and they won't have an opportunity to participate. So things are just changing, where sport is one of those activities where there's so much value added to a young person's life from their ability to participate. Now, I don't believe in participation trophies.
Thank you.
I do believe it is beneficial for all kids to play sports. So I don't know where the balance is in that, but I just feel like the fun is starting to be extracted out of the sports that used to bring smiles to kids' faces. Like I remember when with our sons, when the joy was sucked out of the sports that they played. And they were excellent athletes, but they lost a joy that I used to see when they were like younger and kicking it with their friends on the field and after practice. It just started to dissipate.
And I would just say that comes from what we chose. They wanted to compete at a higher level. So when you start picking and choosing, all right, you're going to go to this high school or you're going to go to this program. That program is about one thing, winning. And they recruiting behind you. So you
can't do both. You can't do both. You can't win and
it's difficult. It's difficult because that head coach, he is there or she there for one reason.
What do we? This is my next question. Where do we prioritize? Are we doing enjoyment? Are we doing playing time, development? Like, what do we? Where's the priority?
Because playing sports is hard work. It is hard. At some point, you are gonna have to level up even if you when you're on these competitive teams. But it should be overall, I think, fun, even when it's hard.
Yeah. So I would say it's we as parents, you'll see your kid. You got to have an idea. Okay, she's progressing. She can compete or he can compete at another level. Then it becomes into that development and competition. And then you're asking yourself, can she play college ball? Does he have the potential to play college ball? And now you as a parent, you're going to sit back and go, okay, this is what Troy wants. And we would say he can compete here. So it's the right integration of both development and competition. But you got to, you're looking once they get to that middle school or that high school level, now parents are thinking, where am I going to spend my time? Mm-hmm. How do I want to allocate my time and my resources? Am I chasing the AAU circuit? Am I paying for these travel teams? Or am I going to give in with the local coach to developing for the high school team?
But everybody has those aspirations. When you just think your son or your daughter has some level of skill, you start chasing opportunity and you start paying thousands of dollars for these AAU travel teams, this elite program, this special trainer. It's like thousands upon you're paying college tuition before your kids even get to college, hoping that your child gets a scholarship or gets to the next level. And it's like they're kids and we're like, oh, look, he going to make it to the NBA. She going to make it to the WNBA. And we have these expectations and aspirations for our kids because everybody wants to see their kid win and have success. So our evaluation of their skill is one thing, but the reality of what that situation is going to play out for the kid is another.
And I think, NIL and people and parents seeing kids make money and then they're spending money. But when we say, more parents have an unrealistic thought on what they want to get in return after sitting on the sidelines. I always say since we have an 8-year-old, if he gets through high school and our oldest is 23, she's finishing up her master's. She did soccer for 4 years and now she's doing track in her 5th. And by the time our youngest is done, I'll have sat on the sideline for 29 years, right? 29 years of sports. I'm a career sports sideline professional. Right? That's how long people, you retire from law enforcement around 32 years. It's like I'm at 29. 29 is on the sideline. And there's been times where our kids, there's been challenges for them. They've had luckily to have really good coaches who could communicate well with them. And we would say to them, hey, I think there's been a balance where like, hey, this is getting hard for them. Is this time to hang the hat and maybe just play rec and not maybe do the AAU or not do the club soccer? Mm-hmm. And they'd have the conversation and say, this is controlled stress. You're still at home. You can still come home. You can do the club team, and then you can do a pickup team if you want to. That's maybe not as serious. When you talked about, seeing your sons not be as happy. Sometimes we've been able to balance them with doing something else where it wasn't as much pressure, or playing multiple sports where they would play a sport and they're like, coming off the bench. I'm like, well, learn how to be a good teammate.
Learn how to be
how to be
yes.
the person that cheers the other person on. And if you want to come off the bench, then maybe you should focus on using your left hand a little bit more. If not, like, it is what it is, But I think there's so much pressure on kids to do it. And this conversation is great because like you said, Troy, each kid is different, and you have to look at that and evaluate like where they are and where this is hurting them as a human, right?
Yeah.
Not as an athlete. Where is this hurting or developing them as a human? Because we get into youth sports and they build some of these skills, but they can also really damage if they're not in the right system. You don't know the coaches. You haven't talked to other people about what that's about. And I think you're just bringing up really good points about these conversations and the communication that parents need to have with each other that I don't think happens all the time, and with their coaches. Like I said to parents, hey, ask the coach, like, do you evaluate my kid? Do you, how do this team stay this way the whole year? Are you evaluating at practice? Because then you can, as a parent, help them navigate that when it comes to whatever team they're on or whatever their goal is. But now we're just, feel like people are just paying money and jumping into like a pipeline and drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, actually knowing it. And it is hard to navigate.
So I would say one of the things that Tommi and I, from the very beginning, and it just probably came from just my athletic background, we invested in the skill side of the sport. So we knew, and if you were to talk to my boys today, they would tell you, we have this saying, skill beats talent when talent is not willing to work. And most talent is not willing to work. So we spent a lot of time when we had coaches for them. They can hear dad's voice for a while, but then I know there's a time where I need someone to teach him the same thing that I'm trying to teach him.
Yeah.
But the development of the skill will always beat talent. And like falling in love with the basics, whether it was basketball, whether it was football or track, as a parent, we invested in his and her, our oldest daughter, Desiree, the skill part of the sport, because it would carry her. It will carry him. So most parents are looking and thinking that the coach, because every coach can't develop skill.
True. Very true.
So
Okay.
that's a fact, and the worst thing that can happen to an athlete is have a bad coach. See, a bad coach, a good athlete can't overcome bad coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here. This is not a knock on coaching. This is just, 50 years of watching coaching, seeing coaching development. A good coach can take an average kid and make them good. A good teacher, it's a blessing. So we just invested, both Tommi and I, early on. Like, we would take our kids to, hey, we just gonna go work on this. It wasn't it wasn't a team aspect. It was, we got to go out here and shoot, man. We need to go out here. We need to work these ladders.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get our hands right. And that'll allow you to compete wherever you are.
Good
All right.
stuff. Now, Tommi, Jeremy's going to ask you about your wings, but I want to know what.
Yeah, we're moving on to food already.
Because you talked about skills, and I'm thinking about nutrition, and I'm thinking about fueling the athlete and all those things. So yeah, naturally went to food. What was your go-to favorite meal for your kids? Like, how, so many people are trying to figure out, like, how am I feeding my kids in between? I even have a little portable crock pot because we're going from somewhere in Massachusetts to now another sport in Rhode Island. And
you guys have to see Val. Val comes out there and she has a pod. It pops out and you put chairs inside it. It zippers up. It's thick plastic, so it's nice and warm. She has her iPad in there, her speaker. She has snacks. hand sanitizer. It's a whole thing. It's a whole
Come on,
thing. And now
Val.
she just bought a
Val know
little
what she's
crock pot.
doing. That's what
Val.
that is. Val knows exactly what she's
Val,
doing.
Val.
18
She's
years
a
in.
professional. She
Val,
already told
Val,
us.
She's a
Val,
professional.
grandmama. She grandmama in it. Come on. How you gonna walk up to all that? Like, that's the kind of parent that we want to play against. Like,
Listen, I got
yeah,
Fresca. You want a Fresca? I got a Fresca. It's cold.
yeah.
Sit right-
Come on. Come
Listen,
on, Val.
we right now we are in. Our sons are playing lacrosse, spring soccer, and flag
Flag
football.
football.
And so we have one who's sitting with us on the sideline. It's raining. It's cold. Troy, I'm not doing it no more. I said, I got at least 10 more years in.
Well,
10
just drop them off. Drop them
Yeah.
off and take the car.
I sit in there. It's in between games. I don't got no one whining about being cold. They can sit. There's enough for two. I can pull some other people's kids inside, keep everybody warm. And we're starting a pod movement. This is we've been doing this. We've been doing this for too long. We're on the sideline too long. So I'm changing the game.
Okay.
But I'm always trying to fuel them right and get food in between and pop. What can I make, before dinner? I'm throwing something in the crock pot. So like, what was your go-to? What did your kids like to eat? How did you prep?
So one, if we were going to be out, through the hours of dinner, I always packed. So I definitely was a prepared sideline mom. I would either sit in the car, like I came prepared to enjoy myself. So I was never one that went to a practice and was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. I was delighted because I could do some reading, I could do some work, I could watch a show, whatever I wanted to do, and I was going to make sure I enjoyed it with whatever drink I wanted, whatever food I wanted. So to me, it became a lifestyle. And so I always made sure that I packed food so when the kids were hungry, they had something to eat. But I am a huge proponent of dinner at the table. And so that was always the goal. So whatever was happening, whether we needed to eat before we left or eat when we came home, I needed us to sit down together as a family to have dinner so we could do our pulse checks and check in with one another to make sure everybody was good.
I like that. That's important.
I like that. It's important, and it's. I think it's hard to do. So, like, kudos to you for getting it done. Because I'm trying to, but there's some days that we have like hungry monsters, and they're ready to eat. And the age gap makes it where we're eating kind of, different a few days a week, and then we try to on the other days a week. But I think a lot of moms are in the trenches and figuring that balance out and holding on to the family traditional things that keep them together even once your kids leave the house. You know what I mean? That those traditional things that I think need to happen, but it's
And that's a both and. I think the parents can still do it. You can still, as both Val and both you, Tommy, you said, you can pack those lunches up. You can have all the little, the little things that Val's bringing to make everybody warm. But then also is that set aside time. The kids would come home, we finish the event. There's enough for them to snack on to get home. And it was nothing like getting around the table.
But crock pots were
Yes.
a thing. So just, you did bring up like where you're able to like do the meal. So I wasn't going in the house cooking, to be clear. Like you don't have time to facilitate dinner and to do all the drop-offs, pickups, and all the running around. And then when we ate at the field, it was like an adventure, especially when the kids were younger, when I had the twins in tow. It was lay out a blanket and we having a picnic and
Okay,
we're
that's
all
nice.
sitting around the blanket eating together. So I just made the most out of those times, and it was not dreadful. I truly enjoyed that season of my life.
Yeah, it was good. And another thing I would just recommend in the parent is, you got to give a kid a chance to debrief, and it's not immediately after the game. See, sometimes we often, which most would do after the game, you get in the car,
Car ride. Yeah.
and that car ride becomes you're now going back over the game, what
Yeah.
either he or she did or didn't do, what mistakes you thought the coaches. Nope. If they want to talk, let them talk. But once we got home, they had a chance to decompress, because the one thing we never did too, we never talked about the coach. If there were things
We would talk about the
We will
coach.
talk about
Yes.
Never-
Wow, you
All
guys
right.
are real. You guys
never never in front of the kids.
In front of the kids, yeah.
Because we just didn't want that to be, well, my dad said or my mom said.
Yeah.
We would talk about like, what were they thinking, or why would they keep running that play?
Yeah.
But give the kids a chance to decompress. They know they already know how they play.
Yeah.
They know it. So I don't need to be in the car like, yo, man, what was you thinking? Why did you do this? Or why did you? We get to dinner, and then while Tommy's making plates and we all sitting there, they'll open up and they'll tell us what they really want to talk about.
Yeah.
So
I think we've learned that, because I remember with my oldest daughter, she would get in the car and we would be talking about the game and everything. And then, but now with the boys, we don't even talk about anything until they get home, and then they'll say, "Oh, Dad, did you see this?" Even our other daughter, she'll say, like, we need to not talk about anything. And then when she gets home, then we'll sit down and watch the game over again. And me and her will sit together and we'll just go through everything. Did you see that play? Yeah. But she seeks out for it now. It's not like I'm not going after her saying, "Did you do this? Did you do that? What happened here? What happened here?" She's coming to me now and saying, let's watch it over again. And I feel like it's learned, because at the beginning I wanted to talk about it right there. Jordan, why'd you do it that way? Like, why didn't we go here? Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So I feel
I think it was you. I think you were like that. Sorry, didn't cut you off, but you were like
Oh, you
that
did?
when you. Oh well, you
So
cut me off,
we
so
do this too.
touche.
I almost said this
you
before we
like
started. Like, this is how we do it. We over talk, we talk over, and it's conversational. It's just fun, you know what I mean? But Val talks over me more than I talk over her.
No, I definitely don't, and it's been noted by many people.
Oh wait, okay, you go first.
See,
I
I think when you coached, you used to do that a lot more, because you would coach and then want to talk about it. But once you stopped coaching them, it was easier for you to.
I still coach
respect
them.
it.
Oh, the girls
Well,
you're talking
the
about?
girls. Yeah, the girls.
Okay, all right, maybe. But even
I mean,
maybe, yeah. You might be right.
I'm right.
But listen, I still didn't get my answer, because Tommy, I've seen you on Grilling and Chilling on your YouTube channel. I need to know, what is the wing of choice? Like, I saw you had a couple different wing recipes, and I'm a wing guy. Which one is it? I need to know the top one, number one.
I would say, if it was my choosing, it would be the wing with the peach bourbon barbecue sauce.
Okay, I saw that one.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
cutting up peaches though, Tommy. I'm not doing all that. I need a easier recipe, a quicker recipe than that.
Well, if I don't have that sauce on it, I prefer wings that are just well seasoned, no sauce.
Like a dry rub?
With a dry rub. But listen, sometimes, if you just cooking, you ain't making no rub, you just seasoning, and you making sure that your chicken is sat out long enough to dry, so when it goes on the grill, that the skin is going to get nice and crisp.
This is what I'm talking about. I love this.
Nachos was the big one.
But yeah, but he talking about wings, because
I'm a wing guy.
Yeah.
Every restaurant I go to, I order the.
I'm a dry rub.
Okay.
And I'm a garlic.
Parmesan.
Garlic parm.
I'm a garlic parm.
Okay. All right.
I can do that.
Which one's your favorite that Tommy does though?
I really don't have a favorite. I just eat, because I'm just eating.
I'm just eating.
All right. I'm just eating.
All right.
I'm just eating. But you know what? No. The barbecue, I would just say the barbecue wings is probably one that would probably be my go-to.
Okay. All right. I'm just writing this stuff down, so I need to try all this. You know what I mean? So I got to figure this out myself.
You like to cook?
I do. I do most of the cooking in the house. She does a little cooking, but she's the baker. But I do all the cooking. Yeah.
He does all.
I'm a firefighter, so like this is what we do.
So air fryer, electric. Gas, or you on a oven?
So I do the air fryer, but just because it's quick and easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about convenience. I love charcoal grills, but I don't have a charcoal grill. I have a gas grill because it's quick and easy, and I'm not waiting for the charcoal to heat up and all that. But yeah, I do a lot of grilling. And yeah, I try different things. The problem is my family doesn't eat what I want to eat. Like Val doesn't eat like I love a pork chop. You know what I mean? She doesn't eat a pork chop.
Oh, yeah, I
You
don't eat
know?
pork.
I'm with you on that, Val.
I don't eat pork. I mean, he made a really nice fish with a buttery crumb.
Yeah,
Yes,
the haddock.
days
I had
ago.
haddock. We had haddock the other day.
Yeah,
And
I
that was
did
good. That was good.
salmon, a nice salmon with like a
I had-
ginger
yeah.
sauce the other day with rice and the cucumbers. Yeah, he cooks. I
But I had a ham. I had a ham the other day. I made a big ham and I had a nice glaze, a honey glaze, and like brown sugar and everything. And I thought it was going to be great. You know, I'm the only one that's eating it. Like nobody else is eating it. I had a whole
Jay, let me ask
tub
you
of
this.
it.
So Jay, are you asking before you
Yeah.
cook?
No,
Or you just cooking what you
I
like?
already know. I already know, but I want them to open up because Val's very picky.
Okay.
And the kids are always doing what Val wants now. They're like, oh, we just want fish. And they don't even want to eat chicken wings. I had to take the boys out and say, listen, guys, mom's not eating chicken wings. They want chicken tenders or chicken cutlets. Like, I want chicken wings. I want the bone in it, flats only. Come with me, guys. We're going to go and get messy. We're going to dip it in the sauce. We're going to go crazy. And they loved it. But because Val doesn't want to have it at the house, they don't even know about it. They don't even know I had to teach them how to eat wings the other day.
listen. We have one daughter running track, one daughter playing basketball in college, and I'm training for the Chicago Marathon, which is not till October. But I'm old, so I need to train longer, and I need to get my nutrition right. So I try to eat things a little bit more from the earth and a little bit lighter to work it out. So I just like that. But he eats anything. I mean, and he goes to the store, he buys 5 bags of Oreos, all different kinds. So like he's just eclectic with food, and I'm a little bit more
But
streamlined.
that's okay. But that's only because at that store they have sales, and if you buy 5 of them, it's like $2 per Oreo. And why would I buy all these Oreos if it's $4 for one? I could get like 5 of them for 10. Like,
Coupon
come
clips.
on.
You were saving money.
Yeah.
Boom.
I like it.
Thank you.
with
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
I'm with you on it.
Okay, we are now moving towards the orange moment. So the orange moment, it's a lesson and a shift. And we want to ask each of you what your orange moment was.
Tommy, what was your orange moment?
So my orange moment, it was a culmination of things that landed in a place where we raised our kids, where they were playing their sports competitively for years. It was a community that celebrated them when they were on their team. But if they were playing on an opposing team, our children were not celebrated. And both of our sons came home on different occasions in tears. And they're not little kids. These now we're talking middle school. They're both middle school age, and they were in tears because they were dominating in the sport of football, and the community at the games, they could hear them yelling on the field to them, calling them monsters, calling them all kinds of names. And in that moment, I realized that it is so important that we keep our kids in communities where they are celebrated and not tolerated. And that is a lesson that I got for them in that moment. And it also became a lesson for me, because in order for us to excel, it is so important for us to have a community around us that are cheering us on and championing for our success. And that was not happening where we live. So then we had to start taking our children outside of our community so that they were around excellence in their sport.
Like that.
I like that a lot. Was it they were playing on went to a different school but still lived in that same town?
No, it was like the community league.
Okay.
So like, you know how you'll have, it wasn't Pop Warner, but like if in Pop Warner, it's all the kids from the community. They're all just on different teams.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So they
Yeah.
would meet up again in high school. They would all end up being
be
on
on the
one
same
team.
team.
But when
Yeah.
you're in middle school, you're usually on different teams.
That's hard to watch as a parent. That's hard to like help navigate that when you're like, this person was my friend. I liked their parents, and now they're treating me badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about an orange moment.
Do you have one for yourself, like your own
Yeah, as a
experience?
player.
How do you move the kids?
Oh, an orange moment.
We had a couple people talk about like they got, cut from a team or made one girl had committed to BC in the fall.
For lacrosse.
And then for lacrosse. And then by senior year, she tried it for a select team and she made the second team. And she talked about being embarrassed and disappointed and how her parents told her to control the controllables and go out there and be the best player, despite the fact that she was on a second team.
Yeah.
In
perspective, BC women's lacrosse is like they win it all the time. So it's like, in football, it's like Alabama or something, like the number one player in high school going to Alabama. And now you try for a team and you're on the B team.
I would say when I was going to college, I thought I was going to one place and I get a call to say, you're not going there. You got to go to this other school. It was one of those like, I'm saying to myself, I didn't say to her, my mom, like, what do you mean I'm going to this school? Like, I just told the coach, I'm going to sign a letter of intent on Tuesday. I'm not talking to my mom this way, but I was just like, I'm going to Syracuse. And on the other end of the phone, she was like, you're not going to Syracuse. You're going to Wisconsin. And it hit me like a bag of bricks. Like, where did that come from? Why? Now, I couldn't say that to her. It was just like,
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I hung up the phone, was just like, how am I going to go out? I was so embarrassed. How am I going to tell people that I'm going to Wisconsin? And they're going to be like, where's Wisconsin at? From Jersey, the kid from Jersey. From Trenton, New Jersey, I'm about to go to Wisconsin. And when I think about, it worked out. Probably the best decision that I made, athletically during that time. And that's probably, yeah.
Why was the switch up? Why the change? Why did she want you to go to Wisconsin?
And she didn't want me in proximity of home. So if you could drive, because, it was Syracuse, which was 3.5 hours from Jersey where we were. There was Penn State, there was Pitt, there was all these other surrounding schools, Carolina. It was like, if somebody can get in the train, get on a bus or get in a car on any day of the week to come see you, that's not good.
Wow.
And I was told that later on. I wasn't told that day when I called her at work to let her know what decision I thought I was going to make. It was like, no, you're not. You go on to such and such.
Wow.
I said, Wisconsin? And she said, yes, Wisconsin. And hung up the phone. Hung up the phone. So that probably was my orange moment, I would say. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you were forced to pivot, and adjust.
Oh, fast.
Yeah.
Like real fast.
And Tommi, you talked about how much you enjoyed that part of your life with being on the sideline with your kids for the sport. So we're talking about the kids and their identity when the sport ends, but there's a little part that ends for us when you're used to being with those parents and you're used to, being on the side with them. How was that for you when, it was over?
Girl, when it was over, I was like, good riddance.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I didn't know what to do with myself, first of all, because I was doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was over, I did not look back and feel saddened by the fact that it was
really?
over.
You didn't miss
No.
it?
No, I'm the same.
No.
I'm right with her. We were like, thank God. I mean,
We
the miles,
listen,
the
literally.
Yeah,
airplane.
it is a
I
lot.
mean, you
It is
know
a
it.
lot.
You've been in it now. You going on almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Yep, career professional.
Yes, and we were, we went from the little rec leagues to middle school to high school to college, and we drove everywhere.
Yeah.
So we were driving from the top of the east to the bottom of the east
Yeah.
to the west. Like, so we were driving all over the place.
Yeah.
And so when it was over, man, I was like, I got my life back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
That's
always
good
say
to
like
hear.
we're not even going to ever be over, because by the time our youngest is done, our oldest daughters, they'll probably be having kids by then, and we'll be doing it with the grandkids. So
Oh,
I
mean,
don't think we're
that's
ever
where
going to
we
lose.
are.
That's what we're.
That's where we are.
But
We have
everything-
9
yeah.
grandchildren, and they're all starting to, start getting involved in sports. Now, they do live far away from us, so it's only when we go visit them that we'll have an opportunity to engage in those sports. But I'm looking forward to that, because it's still different. I'm not sitting there with the weight of my child being successful. I just get to enjoy my grandkids playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to show up an hour before they have to be there.
No.
Right.
You have to show. You could just show up like, I'm here. Yeah.
And
That's
when
what Val does anyways. Val just shows up anyways. I'm the one that's always there early. I show up. I have all the boys. We're ready. We're warming up, and then Val comes in right at the buzzer.
I'll
With
take
her
a class
pod.
in between a game if I can, like a workout class in between. Listen,
And
listen,
I would say,
Mom, did you see that? I said, listen. I said, did you have fun? They're like, I've had. I go, you have 5 games today. I'm not catching every moment. I tried to. I'm not getting all the highlight reel stuff, but you had fun. I'm having my coffee and I'm mingling a little bit too.
and this is what I would also encourage every couple or parents: have fun, because once it's over, it's over. Like, if you're traveling, going to watch your child participate in sports, like, have fun. We made it fun.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
get involved, the tailgating,
Yeah.
be part of the team that's bringing some whatever, whether it's water or
Yeah.
some snacks. We got some memories. Like, I have
There's nothing
some
like
memories.
that. A good team with good parents. It's so much fun. It really is.
Yes.
It is. It's lots of fun.
I got some memories from her in the parking lot, like getting out of a car and not stepping up on the like, it's a ledge, and falling. Like, what in the hell? And in a hotel room, and you hear something go boom, boom. What happened? She just fell. How did you fall? What happened? So yeah. Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's family memories. That's why I say people like, don't take everything so serious. Like this, we would go on a trip and we're like, let's go to the zoo. We're in a new city. Let's
Make it a
try
thing.
this.
Make it.
We would find a restaurant that like was top on the list. Like, it might be a donut shop. Like, oh, they're the best donuts here. And and the kids, they remember that, 10 years later, like, oh, remember that donut shop in like Kentucky? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
all such great stuff for people to hear. And, especially you guys being a couple and having multiple kids, it's really great for people to hear this perspective.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having us.
Is there anything you guys want to promote or anything that, like, where can our audience find you guys?
Tom?
So a couple of places. One, we have a website, vincentcountry.com, as well as on social media at Vincent Country, or for myself personally, you can find me at chef.Tommi V, and that's Tommy with an I, Tommi.
And I'm usually with Tommy. You can find me there as well. So,
What about your book, Tommy? Please tell us about your book.
oh,
Yes. Okay. So my book is The Table of Life, Nourishing the Soul with Food, Love, and Faith. And the premise of the book is to teach the reader how to build their own table, one dish at a time, using all of the ingredients of their life. And you can find my book at TommiV.com, Amazon, as well as Barnes and Noble.
Right.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
what about your philanthropic work? You guys do so much that
You guys do
like,
everything. Don't stop being modest.
not
Let's
everything.
go.
Not everything.
Yeah.
So, you can also find us at ltncdc.org. That's Love Thy Neighbor, cdc.org. Tommy and I have been, we would say we love the community. We focus our efforts in on being good community partners in that K through 12, that elementary education. And then we also do a lot around gender-based violence. But ltncdc.org, we've been probably at it now a little less than 30 years. Just being good community partners frankly, across the world. So, Tom, anything that I leave off?
No.
I saw
So-
your TED Talk. That was really good. Your TED
On
Talk
Flag?
was really, really good.
Flag
Yes.
is, hey, it is, so that is I would say, the game of football and sport, but the game of football in particular has done more for me than I've always thought about how can I give back to the game, from being an active participant to now being an active contributor. Now seeing Flag, kind of take off, and we experienced that with our daughter Desiree, which you probably heard in my TED Talk. She was a Buccaneer. Des had all the talent, but very little access because she was a girl. And now seeing a sport, an option of the game of football that so many people can play, that everybody can play. It's affordable, it's accessible, and it's all inclusive. It's literally taking the world by storm. And it's just awesome to see the young ladies embrace it and just take it to a new level.
Yeah, it's been
It
great.
really
We
is.
go to a lot
Our
of
sons
events.
play flag football, and we always say, like, those girls would beat you guys. Like, you guys got to step it up.
Yes.
Those girls are good.
Yes. No, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. It's good. It's a excellent way, if someone chooses to play tackle later on in life, to gain and garner the skill sets without thinking in your mind or having this second thought about the contact of the sport, even though there's contact in flag. It just allows the student athlete to just develop the skill set that's necessary if they choose to play tackle. But now with a professional flag league,
Yeah, you don't even need to. Yeah, you're
for
right.
boys and girls, if you just
You're
want to
right.
just, stay in flag, you can stay in that flag ecosystem.
Yeah.
We were at the flag football like world championships in Florida this year, and I went up to a coach afterwards because I saw him. I listened to him off to the
Oh, yeah.
side give one of the best pep talks to one of his players that like it literally brought tears to my eyes. And you talk about grit on the TED Talk, but he poured his whole soul. It's gonna make me cry. I don't know why, but he poured his whole soul into his belief in her and her ability and her permission to go out there and give it all she had and like unapologetically to go out there and play so hard.
Yeah.
And I just saw her just absorbing all of it. And it was off to the side. Their team was long gone. It was just him and her, and we were about to play, and he was on the side with her. She probably was like 14 or something. And it was just so awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
He
She came up to
important.
me and said it. She's like,
I said
"You
that was
wouldn't
the
believe
best.
this speech." Yeah.
It was the best pep talk I had ever seen. And we've been at so many sidelines, and it was. I wish I could have taped it. You know what I mean? It would have been awkward if I had pulled up my phone.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the coach. And there's nothing like a coach, because that coach can speak life into you, can say something to you that sits with you for the rest
Yeah.
of your life. That's the beauty of just get a kid at his or her down point and can speak some life to you to change everything you think about life. And we remember those talks.
Yeah.
We remember those little sessions about the coach pulling you to the side or after practice and you waiting on your parents to pick you up. And that coach is putting a little something in you, put a little something in your mind, a little something in your ear, and you go, yeah, I got it. Thanks, coach. But no, value, that's the beauty of the coach.
Yeah.
That's the power
Yeah.
of the coach.
But I mean that coaching and parenting and the same thing, right? What you're putting, we're signing our kids up for these sports, and just to be parents to be the support system and not be driving the financial agenda or like enjoy these moments, support your kids, and rely on other parents for when and know the system. There's so many things that as parents that we need to figure out as the youth sports are just moving so quickly. But this has been so awesome. We're so grateful to have you guys and talk.
Thank you
and
guys for coming on.
candid with
This
us
is a
about
blast.
everything.
Well, no, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been great.
And thank you for being locked in with MicdinPod.
Yes.
Thanks for being locked in with MicdinPod.